that just shows you how sexism works. Like, if you're a woman, you have to have children for some reason, and they use that as a beating stick, when really you should have been ripping her to shreds because she couldn't dance, and she decided to dance at every given opportunity. Buongiorno freaks and geeks, welcome back to the channel. So in honor of Valentine's Day, I decided to put together a tier list of the 21st century UK Prime Ministers.
This is a sick Negro.
Don't ask me what one has to do with the other, but I'm going to do it anyway. So here is the list, starting from the top and working my way downwards. First category for the people, second category for the country, third category for the party, fourth category for the class, fifth category medically stupid, sixth category twat, and seventh and the final category at the bottom there is demon twat. I will go into why I've named them those categories as we move through this video. So there have been 8 prime ministers of the 21st century in the United Kingdom. Officially, there have been 5 Conservative and 3 Labour Party prime ministers. More on that later. But before we get into this list, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me down below who has been your favorite prime minister of the 21st century, and tell me why. What did they do that you really liked? So starting in the place where everyone should start, right at the beginning, let's bring in Anthony Blair. I've placed him in the category of demon twat, and as you can see, his banner is purple. The reason it is purple is because he spearheaded, along with Bill Clinton in the United States, this third way bollocks, where they basically said, I'm not conservative, I'm not socialist, I'm something different, when officially it really meant I'm not conservative, I'm not liberal, I'm something different. And that difference was they were basically conservatives with a liberal aesthetic. If you don't believe me, let's look at Mr. Anthony Blair. People will remember him fondly because he introduced the national minimum wage, not to mention working tax credit. He was a major player in the Good Friday Agreement, and he introduced Sure Start Children's Centres. I will always beat the drum for Sure Start Children's Centres, but something tells me Tony Blair didn't really care about those things. He cared about legacy, just enriching himself, essentially. And I think he just had really good advisors around him. And what better way to develop a legacy than to introduce a lot of things? Even if they get stripped down by the next prime minister, at least you introduce them and they had a major impact on people. When we talk about major impacts, he also introduced tuition fees in 1998. And if you ask a university student today, what do they think of tuition fees? They will tell you it's the biggest albatross around their necks before they've even had a chance to live. Tony Blair also kicked open the door to allow the privatization of the NHS, which, if Trump gets his way, will be the end for all of us in the UK. And yeah, lots of medical debt incoming. Who could forget he joined the war on terror, not for resources but just for the love of the game and wanting to just evaporate brown people in the Middle East. And the war on terror, for those that don't know, invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq. Can you believe that the Iraq war resulted in 1 million people dying? Just poof, just gone out of existence because George Bush just wanted the oil. It's absolutely unbelievable that we've moved on from that so quickly. I mean, if someone invaded the UK and said we really want Scotland's iron brew production, and then 1 million people died, how would you feel if like 20 years later everyone just moved on and said, it's just one of those things, I guess. So yeah, that's why he's in the category of demon twat, and that's where the place he will remain for me until I leave this mortal coil. Moving on, we have Gordon Brown. Gordon Brown, as you can see from his banner, he's definitely Labour. Did I mention? Yeah, so Gordon Brown was Prime Minister from 2007 until 2010. Don't know if I mentioned, but Anthony Blair was Prime Minister from 1997 until 2007. But returning to Gordon Brown, yeah, I definitely think he was a Labour leader. He definitely wasn't conservative, and he definitely wasn't a liberal. I can't say he was a socialist. I think he was more of a social democrat, and I do think he did care about the people of this country. Why else would he have bailed out the banks? Because he truly believed that that was the best thing to do. But unbeknownst to him, that did result in the money going straight back to the people who caused the crash in the first place. Gordon Brown also resigned when there was a hung parliament in 2010 and decided, okay, the Tories and the Liberal Democrats can form a coalition.
I've informed the Queen's private secretary that it's my intention to tender my resignation to the Queen. In the event that the Queen accepts, I shall advise her to invite the Leader of the Opposition to seek to form a government. I wish the next Prime Minister well as he makes the important choices for the future.
Obviously, he didn't know what he was leaving us to and the damage that inevitably caused to the country, but he really thought he was doing it in the best interests of the country, because he said, all of this fine, all this instability is not getting things done for the poorest people in this country, because I just bailed out the banks and we really need a plan moving forward. And we'll get into that plan, which was implemented by some people. But yeah, he was definitely for the country, even though he did decide to bring back Peter Mandelson for some reason, even though Peter Mandelson never had a good thing to say about him. I'm not sure why he did that, Gordon. But yeah, weird. So after losing, well, he didn't technically lose the general election because it was a hung parliament, but yeah, after resigning in 2010, that opened the door for David pork-loving Cameron, who was Prime Minister from 2010 to 2016. As you can see, he is under the banner of because he's definitely a conservative Tory. He's across two categories. He's across twat and demon twat. He's a twat because he was very self-serving. He just wanted to be Prime Minister. He was bred to be Prime Minister from a very, very young age, and he had this obsession of being recognized as a winner. He won that referendum on changing the electoral system. Unfortunately, he didn't win his next. Actually, no. Also, he won the referendum on Scottish independence, and I guess those two wins basically encouraged him to throw the dice on the Brexit referendum. I mean, such hubris from him. But the reason he's a demon twat, well, he's a demon twat and a twat, is because he implemented austerity along with George Osborne, which resulted in, amongst other things, at least 50,000 disabled people dying. I'm not sure why we moved past that very quickly at all. But yeah, it definitely happened. He also joined Barack Obama and NATO in destroying the North African country of Libya, who, last time I checked, reintroduced slavery. So that is the impact and legacy that idiot left on the world. And in fact, now I'm thinking about it, he should fully be in the category of demon twat, and he would be if I had an 8th category of dictator of hell, because I would have pushed Anthony Blair into that category of dictator of hell, and David Cameron would have been fully into the demon twat category. But yeah, his actions as Prime Minister weren't as bad as Tony Blair. That is David Cameron, who ended up leaving in 2016 like the coward he was. That left the door open for Theresa May, who was Prime Minister from 2016 into 2019. She did her best to try and clean up the Brexit referendum mess, and as you can see, she's in the category of for the party, because everything she did was to hold together her own political party, which was the Conservatives. The reason for the party is quite high up on my tier list is because that can be a good or a bad thing. I think if you are a for the party leader of the Greens, for example, then that can be a good thing. But if you're for the party leader of the Conservatives, that's pretty lame in my perspective. Because he never found good Tory, if you ask me.
You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
So she wanted to hold together the Conservative Party by bringing Boris Johnson into her cabinet, making him the Brexit secretary. We saw how that ended, because Brexit is an unworkable theory, policy, implementation, whatever you want to call it. And we are seeing that with today's Prime Minister, who's trying to re-establish closer links with the European Union, who are our closest neighbours. What I will say, the only thing that I will defend Theresa May on is the fact that people try to say she couldn't be a good leader because she hadn't had children. And for whatever reasons, her and her husband didn't have children, but who cares? The reason I push back against that, because if you take it like literally, there have been many men prime ministers who haven't pushed children out of them either, and they, even though they hadn't had that experience, they were still seen as valuable prime ministers. And not necessarily saying that they were even good anyway, but the fact that they had to hone in, and that just shows you how sexism works. Like, if you're a woman, you have to have children for some reason, and they use that as a beating stick, when really you should have been ripping her to shreds because she couldn't dance, and she decided to dance at every given opportunity. So Theresa's gone, and next we have Boris Johnson, who I've put in the category firmly of twat. He was Prime Minister from 2019 to 2022. He's obviously under the banner of Conservative and Tory, and as he saw, Brexit was unworkable as well. And the reason he's in the category of twat is because he is definitely self-serving, and the only reason he wanted to be Prime Minister is to be able to say he was Prime Minister, not to help people, not to help the party, not to help the country, not to help anyone but himself, and just have his name stamped in the record books. If you ask me, that is the worst type of person. No, actually not the worst type of person, because as you see, we've got demon twat and twat in there. But yeah, he still was very self-serving, and he was our Prime Minister during the beginning of COVID and much of it. And as you saw, his policies led to far more people dying than necessary. And what was he doing while everyone was locked up? When he finally did implement a lockdown, he was partying up with his aides and family in the garden of number 10 and 11 Downing Street. And it just makes you think, if you were really going to do that, why didn't you just tell everyone to lock their phones in one safe box so no evidence of this could ever go out? But no, such is the arrogance of a twat. They think they will never have to answer for their crimes. Eventually, Boris Johnson had to leave and resign because he had major players in his cabinet leave. We had Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid, and there might have been someone else, but yeah, those are the major players that left him in the lurch and just showed that he just couldn't govern anymore. I just remember his resignation speech where he said, "Thems are the breaks," and you are right, thems are the breaks, and I hope you never return to public life ever again. The reason Boris Johnson's not in the category of demon twat is because he didn't invade anyone, unless I'm a bit confused, but he did back Ukraine and President Zelensky against the invasion and tyranny of Vladimir Putin and Russia. Think of that what you will, but yeah, that was the only thing that he did that showed that he may be partially human. I don't know. Again, that could have been just for legacy to say, like, look at me, I'm on the right side of history and all that type of bollocks. Actually, it would have been really interesting to see how he would have reacted to Israel's genocide in Palestine. Yeah, I guess we'll never know now. After him, we had Elizabeth Truss. So Elizabeth Truss, I've put her into the category of medically stupid. And this is not like to be horrible or a diss. This category is essentially for people where their actions are not of their fault. If that makes sense, it's definitely not. I don't think Liz Truss did anything maliciously. I just think she did things because she exists, and yeah, I think she's very malleable, and I just don't think there was any ill intent. And whether that is something genetic within her or she had a major head injury, Liz Truss just did things that were outside of her control.
That is a disgrace.
Obviously, she's under the ban of Tory. She lasted for 50 days, and that 50 days entitled her to get a yearly pension for the rest of her life, enabling her to never have to work again. Like, maybe she's not so medically stupid. Maybe that was the smartest thing you could have done. But yeah, she was exhibiting strange behavior before she became Prime Minister and during the leadership campaign of the Tory party.
So Liz Truss, current Foreign Secretary, who came third in the first round of voting to become the new Conservative Party leader and Prime Minister. That first round of voting happening yesterday. But
yeah, her inevitable end was because not only did she meet the Queen, and the Queen died very soon afterwards. And I have a theory about that. I think the Queen met Liz Truss and was just unbelievably blinded by her aura. She was like, I'm not going to meet anyone ever better than this. I can leave now. I've completed life. And yeah, the Queen got out of there. But she also decided to crash the economy and then looked around at everyone and said, did I do that? And then, like the girl boss she was, she just left. She didn't even have time to change the bed sheets after Boris Johnson. You will not be missed, but you were definitely funny. And for a moment there, I did believe she was a sleeper agent for her very left-wing and almost socialist parents by infiltrating the Tory parties from within and making them the laughing stock for years to come. But yeah, like I said, I know better now that all of the things that Liz Truss did just wasn't her fault. Yeah. So after Liz Truss, we have Mr. Rishi Sunak, the short king himself, and everything he did was for his class, or for the class. I officially titled the category for the class, which meant that he didn't do it for his political party, which is the Tories.
What is the point point in the Conservative Party.
He definitely didn't do it for the country. He did it all for his own social class, which were quite rich people. We've seen interviews of Rishi Sunak when he was very young saying, I don't know anyone working class.
Friends who are aristocrats, I have friends who are upper class, I have friends who are, working class, but not working class.
And that kind of dictated how he saw the world for his life moving forward. Who could forget when he was on the leadership campaign trail saying to a bunch of rich people in the suburbs that he did everything in his power to take money from deprived and underserved communities and bring it to rich communities like this.
I managed to start changing the funding formulas to make sure that areas like this are getting the funding that they deserve. Because we inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas.
Yeah, so he didn't resign. He just got absolutely crushed in the general election of 2024, which was going to happen because people were just bored, not necessarily endorsement of the succeeding government or political party. Rishi Sunak, I don't know where you are right now, but never come back. Like, I can't believe you were even in politics. Like, isn't your wife a billionaire or something? You definitely didn't need it, which makes me even more firmly believe that everything you did in government was to solidify the power concentrated in the top 1% where you currently reside. Goodbye and never come back.
Fuck off.
Last and very least, we have Sir Keir Rodney Starmer, who I've placed in the category of demon twat, because he is a demon twat. And as you can see, he's also under the banner colour of Tory, because he's not even a third way politician. He is clearly a Tory. He tried, well, he didn't just try, he succeeded in convincing the Labour membership that he was the natural successor to Jeremy Corbyn. And now I'm thinking back that the Labour membership that voted for Keir Starmer to be leader also had some underlying misogyny problems, because there were candidates that were women that were also valid successors to Keir Starmer, someone like Rebecca Long Bailey. But yeah, never mind, we don't need to reheat old beefs. So yeah, Keir Starmer came into the role of Prime Minister in 2024, and to say it's been a bumpy ride would be an understatement. The guy is a walking, talking, robotic curse on this country. He is the worst thing to happen to this country in a very, very long time. A vessel of a person waiting to be filled by the next advisor at any given opportunity. Has no real vision, no charisma, no personality. He's just there. And the quicker he is ousted as Prime Minister, the better. Yeah, I cannot stress how much I hate Keir Starmer. Who could forget him defending Israel's right to commit genocide?
A siege is appropriate? Cutting off power, cutting off water?
Well, I think that Israel does have that right. It is an ongoing situation. Obviously, everything should be done within international law, but I don't want to step away from the sort of core principles that Israel has a right to defend herself.
And because of that, he will forever be in the demon twat category. It's almost like I don't know, because there's nothing medically stupid about him. He's doing everything he's doing very calculated. He's a bigger liar than Boris Johnson, even. Like, everything he does, everything he did was a complete lie. Even his career as a human rights lawyer was a lie. He didn't care about human rights. He just did it just so he could always have the rebuttal, human rights. I did human rights, and that's it. Yeah, so he backed to genocide. He brought back the nonce enabler, Peter Mandelson, for some strange reason. Blamed it on Morgan McSweeney, and said, I took responsibility by saying sorry. I took the responsibility of appointing Peter Mandelson as ambassador to America by saying sorry. Oh yeah, and Morgan McSweeney is now gone. Yeah, that's the caliber of Prime Minister we are living with right now. And I'm not sure what's going to happen. Actually, no, I am sure what's going to happen. Labour will probably lose the next by-election in Manchester, and they will definitely get a drumming in the local elections. And it'll just be a matter of time until Keir Starmer is gone, and I'm just licking my lips at that moment.
Have you no shame?
So yeah, that's the tier list. And as you have probably noticed, no one is for the people, and that category is for a Prime Minister that is not only for the people of the UK but the people of the planet. Understanding that working class people across the planet should have a certain standard of living, and if they do have that standard of living, no one would want to come here. You know, like one of the biggest complaints of most right-wing fascists is that immigration is too high, but forgetting the fact that the countries those people are coming from are either being bombed to bits, or are food insecure, or are being affected by climate change. And if we fix those things in other countries, there'll be no need for people to come here. I mean, people are not coming here for the weather, are they? Something to think about. So yeah, no Prime Minister in the 21st century. I don't even know if there was a Prime Minister in the 20th century that would have been for the people. Just trying to think. No, there wasn't. That is a category that ascends everything, and very few individuals will be able to make it into that category. So that being said, tell me what you think of this tier list of the 21st century UK Prime Ministers. Do you agree? Would you move people around? Please tell me in the comments down below. That is it for this video. I hope you have a fantastic Valentine's weekend. If you're into audiobooks, I voiced an audiobook recently. It's all about, very topically, relationships and spotting red flags early. Link in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Okay, ciao.
What I do when you're gone? What I do when you're gone, baby? Baby, you're gone away.